What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Ithaca Beer Company, and they're out of Ithaca, New York, and this is their Flower Power with Galaxy hops. So this is an American IPA that comes in at 7.2% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 2 months old. So I had no idea that this beer even existed up until recently when a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber Kyle over at No Hype Beer Reviews reviewed this one. Now, he enjoyed it. He said it wasn't much different than the base beer, but it was a little bit different, but he dug it, and he likes Flower Power like I do, so no surprise there. But I had no idea this was even a thing, and I was like, thanks Kyle for letting me know about it. So I went to a local bottle shop and walked into the walk-in cooler at Premier Gourmet, and sure enough, there it was, and I grabbed it. Now when I grabbed it, it was already 2 months old, and I knew that going into it, so this is a bit older than I would like when it comes to drinking this for the first time ever. Most of my IPAs, if I'm trying them for the first time, I like to be around 6 weeks old or fresher. This one obviously is not. This is around 9 weeks old. It happens, but I wanted to review it, so here we are. Now, this beer specifically, they use the same malt and hop bill. This is basically the base Flower Power, but they just brew this one with Galaxy in both the boil and dry hopping. So the base hop bill is the same, the malt bill, the whole nine. So yeah. Now, if you don't follow the channel, you might not know that the base Flower Power, not this one, the base Flower Power was the IPA that got me into IPAs about 8 years ago. Up until then, really not a huge fan of IPAs, and then I drank Flower Power and I was like, wow, I actually enjoy this one. It was the second ever beer I reviewed on my channel, number 2. So if you want to go and check out that review and then see how it compares to this one, feel free. I've had Flower Power numerous times, too many to recall at this point, but it used to be one of my favorite IPAs. I still pick it up occasionally and drink it, but there's so many new beers out there that I don't revisit it as much as I should. So anyway, let's crack this open, give it a pour, see what we got going on here. So yeah, this is going to look like your old school American IPAs. This is not going to be super hazy and milky looking and all kinds of craziness. This is just an American IPA, and that's all it is. But Flower Power I love, so maybe that isn't just what it is. Anyway, so yeah, that pours out this really nice orange color. Has a little bit of haze to it, but it's filtered a little bit, but somewhat unfiltered as well. Has about a finger of an off-white head, but that looks like your old school American IPA, which is what I remember Flower Power being. Now, the one thing I will say before I smell this, when it comes to Flower Power, I always get like this honey kind of malt-driven malt character. They do use honey malt in this one, and I always get, and it doesn't matter if it's super fresh or older, I always get like a spicy tea note, which I know can, a little bit of oxidation when it comes to like IPAs, or like a little bit of age influence, usually when you get like a tea note to it. But for Flower Power, I always get that, regardless of the age of it. So be curious to see if I get that in here. So anyway, let's get a nose. Wow, that actually has really nice citrus characters. This one, lots of like just sweeter orange. I've used this note before, but almost like you took an orange and you drizzled it in honey, because this has a nice honey malt character to it. So like a honey drizzled orange I'm getting in the nose. Touch of like resinous pine, toasted white bread. A little bit of like a pineapple passion fruit thing that I think is coming from Galaxy, but just be honest with you, this smells very akin to the base Flower Power, maybe with just like that pineapple and passion fruit slightly adding to the nose. But this is very reminiscent of Flower Power. I guess the taste for Flower Power, I usually would get pineapple, so maybe this is even a bit more subdued, and that's where maybe the age comes into play here. But man, it smells really nice. It smells like it's gonna be super drinkable, easy to drink, and just, yeah, nice flavor. So citrus, a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of passion fruit, honey malt, toasted white bread. Smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, it has that unmistakable Flower Power just taste to it, like the characteristics. It makes me happy, because every time I drink Flower Power, I just am reminded of the first time I had it and just being so surprised that I liked an IPA. And this is just, it's bringing back memories. And I probably said that in my, my Flower Power review going back, almost 2 years at this point, but it just makes me smile. It does. Right up front, that honey malt, toasted brown bread, or toasted white bread. Why did I say brown? Toasted white bread. Because this, I shouldn't even say toasted, because it isn't really toasty. It just has this like nice white bread characteristic with that honey. And as it passes through the palate, that zesty citrus character comes to the forefront, like zesty orange rind, grapefruit, a little bit of lemon. But then the pineapple and the passion fruit hit mid-palate. And it's very similar to the base Flower Power, because that's what I liked about Flower Power, is that I would get specifically pineapple, not passion fruit. And that's what I'm getting here with a hint. So I think like the Galaxy is like introducing the passion fruit into the taste of this one. It finishes a bit sweeter than I remember. Semi-dry finish, nice residual sweetness. And I'm left with honey drizzled orange slices on the back of the palate. I don't remember that being as prominent in the base Flower Power. The body on this one is 7.2%. Lower side of medium to medium body, so I'm cool with it. The mouthfeel is your classic American IPA. Has a crispness to it. Has a nice smoothness to it, but it's crisp. It's effervescent. It has, you know, the spritzy carbonation that you're accustomed to when you drink an old school American IPA. 7.2%. I can't tell you this is 7.2%. It drinks so well, and it hides the alcohol incredibly well, that I feel like this is like a 6% beer, like a 5.5% beer. The flavors, you know what? I will give this beer credit right now. This is, like I said, 9 weeks. It's actually a little bit over 9 weeks old. It's like almost 10 weeks old. So we'll just say this is close to 2.5 months old. And this is drinking extremely well. Like, I don't know how this one is, say, a week old, but for the age of this beer currently, this is impressive in my glass. Yeah, man. I don't know how many times, as you can see, I'm delighted. I'm delighted with this beer because Flower Power, again, I don't want to mention it 100 times, but it is that, you know, classic beer for me. That's a classic IPA, the beer that got me into IPAs in general. I love it. I only, like nowadays, I only give it like a 4 out of 5 when it comes to ratings, because, I mean, it's no longer one of my favorite beers or anything, but nostalgia kicks in and I'm just like, yeah, this is what I remember. And that's what this beer is. What are the Galaxy hops exactly doing here for me? I don't think they're doing a lot. Could be age, could be just that, you know, they're just using it with the rest of the malt bill. What I think it's introducing is a little bit of that passion fruit on the palate. Outside of that, maybe it is enhancing that pineapple character too, because mid-palate, that pineapple becomes a bit bigger than it was in the nose, and that I remember Flower Power being in general. But as is, it's a really tasty beer. I think it's not, you know, it's not insanely different from the base, but it's a little bit different for me. And I think I like it a little bit more than the base. At least the last time I had the base, I don't remember enjoying it as much as I do here. So I give the base Flower Power nowadays a 4 out of 5. So I'm going to give Flower Power with Galaxy hops from Ithaca, I'll give it a high 4 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.1 out of 5. I like this. I like this quite a bit. And I have no idea if they plan on doing any other variants of this one. I'd love to see this with like Mosaic hops or Citra hops or Nelson or any of the newer hops nowadays that are all the rage. I would love to see them do an entire series. Maybe they're doing it and I just have no idea. Probably if they are, they're doing it on tap, at the brewery. But I'd like to see them package some different variants of this and release it, because I'm really digging this one. I think it's a damn tasty beer, and I was surprised. This is almost 2.5 months old, and it's drinking extremely well. So I will say this: if you see this review and you're curious and you go and see it and it's 2.5, 3 months old on your shelf, I would still grab it to give it a go, especially if you like base Flower Power, because this is damn tasty. So yeah, 4.1 out of 5 for Flower Power with Galaxy hops from Ithaca. I'm surprised I like this as much as I do based on the age and based on the fact that I give the base a 4 out of 5. I didn't think I'd like it more than the base, but I think I do. So yeah, anyway, price and availability. Availability, I saw it only at Premier Gourmet. I'm sure this gets distribution probably all over New York State. If you see Ithaca, you probably see this one, especially if you can get your hands on Flower Power. Jeez, big truck won't buy or something. Anyway, so yeah, you should see this one if you see Ithaca. Price point on this one, $12 a 4-pack, so you're talking $3 a can. For 7.2% American IPA of this quality, introducing Galaxy hops into this beer, I think $3 a can is well worth it. So yeah, if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it, because I think it's good. I really do. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.